Hi, everybody, and welcome back. So, last time we talked about the differences between our sun sign horoscope and our birth chart or natal reading. So, a lot of us, if you've been following your own astrology, you know what your sun sign is, which is generally your core identity, where you shine in life. You know what your moon sign is, which is your emotional needs, your nurturing, how you feel on the inside, and then you know your rising sign, which generally shapes how others perceive you, how you're viewed from the outside world. Now, when it comes to getting a natal chart reading, there are other factors that can be shown when it comes when you're getting your reading. So, for example, you may know your sun, moon, and rising, but you may not understand how Mars and Saturn, are traditional malefic planets, may affect those uh, those areas of your life. You may not understand how the benefics, Venus and Jupiter, are affecting those planets, whether it's for good or it's for bad. So, having self awareness can help you with finding where you are in life, where it is you want to move forward to, and what you're trying to move away from. So, today we're going to talk about a few things that your birth chart may tell you. Either more or better than your horoscope. So let's get into it. So, the first thing is your strengths and your weaknesses. So, when it comes to your birth chart reading, we get a little more deeper into what makes you you. Like we said before, you kind of understand how Mars and Saturn affect you. You learn how Venus and Jupiter affect you. But it's not just affecting your sun, moon, and rising. It's also because all of these planets have some kind of voice in your chart. And they tell you where that voice, what parts of your life that voice is going to be heard from. Is it going to be a strong voice? Is it going to be a weak voice? If it's a strong voice, is it a strong voice in a way that is helpful? You can hear it, you can move with it, or is it overpowering? Is it overshadowing all the other voices that the planets are, or the other voices that the planets are giving? Is it a weak voice? Do we need to strengthen that voice? You see kind of how where I'm going with this. So this is one of the things that you can learn from your birth chart. So for example, if you are an Aries sun, and you may know that Aries can be boisterous and pioneering and selfish and stubborn and all these other things, but you may not realize how much or how little that affects you in your chart. Because remember, when it comes to your horoscopes is a broad base analysis of everybody who has that sign, whether it's sun, moon, or rising. But that doesn't mean it gets into what makes you you. Okay, so say for example, if you're feeling stuck in your life, knowing what your strengths and your weaknesses are can help you with either overcoming that or trying to avoid situations that may complicate that. So let's move on to the next one. So we learned about our strengths and weaknesses. Another thing that your birth chart can tell you is your ideal career placement. So a lot of horoscopes rarely talk about our career paths or what our strengths or weaknesses are when it comes to work, whether that's in your sixth house type of work, which is, either service or the drudgery type jobs, versus your 10th house type of work, which is your career, your public standing, where you are most seen at. So a lot of times, if you're getting into your birth chart readings, if you're looking for your career path, one of the things you would look at is your midheaven, which is the highest point on your chart, and it shows where your potential reputation is, or professional reputation is, and your potential highest calling. Venus, Mars can give you an idea about how you relate to money, what your motivations are, and your creativity. Saturn is going to tell you where you need to be disciplined at. So, if you ever wondered why you might be not so good in certain jobs, why these jobs may drain you, why you may have to cry in the car before you have to even go and get into work, versus doing things that make you feel alive, make you want to work in that field, even if you weren't getting paid, then it's it's a lot about learning where to find that calling and aligning into where that fits for you. What are your natural gifts? So you don't have to force yourself to be in a job that can potentially harm you. So we've learned about our strengths and weaknesses. We've learned about our career paths. Another thing that your birth charts can be really good at is understanding your karmic lessons and your life purpose. And this is one of those things that is great for analyzing your lunar nodes with. So, and I believe I talked about your lunar nodes at some point. I don't remember if I didn't. If I didn't, we'll find out once we go through the thing. Anyways. So, your lunar nodes point to your soul path. Your south node, what you're coming from. Your north node is where you're going. So, if you're looking into things that you may need to learn to let go of or avoid, you want to look and analyze your south node. If you're looking for the lessons that are here for you to overcome, you're looking at your north node. You may also want to look at Saturn, which highlights your challenges, where those challenges are, and how those challenges are going to affect other planets. So this is one of those situations that go way beyond just looking at your horoscope, because in most cases your horoscope is not looking at your nodes, it's only looking at your big three. A big thing that your birth chart readings can tell you, and this kind of offshoots into another set of readings, is how transits and progressions of the planets can affect you and where they affect you in your life. A lot of times, so let's say one of the most talked about transits that we ever go through in astrology, we go through it at least 3 to 4 times a year, is your Mercury retrograde. And we understand that Mercury retrograde, whenever it comes, there is something we either need to avoid or go back and review when it comes to like communication, when it comes to transportation, talking to people, emails, writings, contracts, things of that nature. Now, we all know that this is going to happen, but here's the thing. Your horoscope is going to tell you that on a broad spectrum way that this is happening, and here's what you should avoid. But your natal chart reading is going to tell you how strong that Mercury retrograde is going to affect you and where in your chart that's going to affect you. What area of your life is going to be affected by this Mercury retrograde? Okay? So say, for example, if you have Mercury retrograde in your 7th house, right? We're not going to worry about sign placement, we're just worried about planet and house. So you have Mercury retrograde in your 7th house. And we'll say, for example, that your 7th house, a lot of us know, is the house of relationships and partnerships. That can be romantic or otherwise. That could be with your partner, your family member, your boss, your neighbor, what have you. So when it comes to Mercury being retrograde in that house, that could look like something as maybe there's miscommunication and you need to chill out and not talk for a while until the retrograde is over, and then go back and talk about the conversation that you were having. Maybe that looks like if it were in your, we'll say if Mercury was in your 3rd house, maybe that looks like transportation. Maybe you're supposed to go on a trip around town. Maybe you're supposed to take a vacation and something goes awry. So you may want to double check, or at least if you know that Mercury retrograde is coming, you may want to double check your, let's say your plane ticket. Make sure you have insurance or something on it. If you want to double check any reservations that you have, make sure you have extras of them. That Mercury retrograde is going to affect you in different ways. And then and it may not happen to everybody, but say, for example, you have Mercury retrograde in, well, we won't say it's in a house, but maybe your Mercury retrograde is happening and it's right next to your sun. Usually when planets are around your sun in a very close orb or orbit, they go through what is called under the beams, the under the beam situation. And what happens around that time is that the sun is overpowering what's happening with that planet. So maybe your Mercury retrograde is actually very weak. It's not really affecting you in that way because whatever's going on with your sun is overpowering what is happening with Mercury. So insights like this when it comes to planetary transit, especially in your birth chart, can be very powerful, because instead of having this fear or anxiety over certain transits coming your way, another big one is your Saturn retrograde, which we'll talk about in a future video. Or not your Saturn retrograde, your Saturn return. We'll talk about that in a different video, is how that is going to affect you, where that's going to affect you in your life, and is it as big, as small, or as big as we think it should be. And then lastly, one of the things that your birth chart or natal reading can tell you versus your horoscope is your compatibility and how to improve. So a lot of times, so say for example, uh, if you're an Aries, your sun sign is in Aries, they may tell you to avoid like Scorpios or Geminis, or, you know, Cancers are not the person that you're supposed to be with. Uh, these type of things. Fire signs and air signs are more compatible with each other versus earth signs and water signs, which are more compatible for each other. And there are reasons for this, which will happen in a future video. But here's the thing, is that there are plenty of people who are in mismatched or incompatible sun signs that are living their best lives together. They have great relationships. They can be family, they can be friends, they can be lovers. You have people who should not probably work well at all, that have been married for years and lived loving and great lives. And a lot of that comes down to synastry, and that is the compatibility of you and the person that you are trying to have a relationship with. So, your synastry is not linked to just your sun, moon, and rising. There's a lot of other planets and transits and aspects that need to be analyzed in order for you to get a better understanding of you and your potential partner and how your relationship is going to be. If it's going to be a lot of challenges, you need to understand how to work through those challenges should you decide you want to work through them, if it's worth it. Or if there's say there's a lot of ease, like things come easy to you, but or to you and your partner. However, there may be situations that can be seen through transits that can cause some kind of discord. You want to be able to understand how to work with your partner, what, you know, your partner's strengths and weaknesses are, and how do they compare to you. So say like maybe you are super extroverted, but your partner is very introverted, and you want to know how does that work when it comes to being in the public sphere. How can you best help your partner when it comes to their introversion and being in public? What are some things that you can help with versus say your partner is good with money and you are not? How can your partner help you with being balanced and bringing in your resources? So those are things you can look at through compatibility and synastry. So there you have it. These are some of the things that you can look at in your birth chart that your horoscope is not going to tell you. So let's go over it again. You got your strengths and weaknesses. You have your ideal career, your karmic lessons and soul path, how transits can affect you, and how you can relate to others through compatibility. So if this video resonates with you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with somebody, because there may be somebody out there who likes astrology just as much as you and me. So, and also if you'd like a personal reading, whether that's through astrology or tarot, click on the link in the description. Check out my Etsy store. I'd love to explore your life with you. Once again, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.